Hi there everybody, it's Rarity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you for joining me today for another card making video, and this time we are making this card. So this is another one where I've kind of had a look at what's on my desk and played around with some colour and seen what I can come up with, and this was created. And if I'm honest, the key thing here was to work out how to use this wild wheat colour. This is one of the new in colours, and it's a little tricky to use on its own. It's kind of this really kind of strange, kind of yellowy, browny, kind of weird colour. So my aim was to see what we could do with this colour and make it look fab, and I like this. So I got out an old favourite stamp set which is called Artistically Inked. We've had this in the catalogue for a little while, and I've done this before where I've made like these sort of marbly kind of backgrounds, but I don't think I've done any with the more recent colours. So I figured we'd bring it back out and see what we could create, like I say, to try and use this wild wheat colour in particular. To make something pretty, right? So there are coordinating dies for this. This, however, does not come as a bundle anymore. It's they are purchased separately. So that's the sort of main focus, and I also got the happy birthday sentiment from there. Okay, so in the spirit of saving a bit of time with the video and just concentrating on the other bits and pieces, I've already cut my wild wheat card base. I've also die cut one of these rectangles, so this is one of the smallest rectangle in the Radiating Stitches dies. This is an online exclusive. There are pictures of them in the or elements pictured in the annual catalogue, but this is available online, so you can see that. So that's that element there, and I've also, again, just to save some time, I've die cut two of these intricate dies here, okay, just in basic white cardstock. So the only reason I've done this ahead of time is that, you know, you have to kind of poke out all the bits and pieces, and, you know, die cutting, if you've seen my videos before, you'll have seen me do a good number of times, so they're already die cut, and we're going to do some more die cutting anyway. Okay, so the sort of key thing here is to create the background, so we'll just pop that to one side, and of course we're going to do a different colourway. I'm going to bring in some scrap paper just to work on, because we're going to stamp off the edge of the paper, and I didn't actually get out a piece of cardstock, so I'll just grab a piece of cardstock. I have loads of pre-cut card, that's what I call full card bases. This is 4 by 5 3/4, so you can get 4 of these out of an A4 sheet. And sometimes when I'm pondering what I'm going to be doing and having a bit of a think, I'll sit and cut a whole heap of these so that they're ready to go. So yeah, we'll start off with a plain piece of paper and end up with something beautiful. So what colour combination were we going to use? So like I say, this was going to be the this is the accent colour I want to use. And I've actually pulled out Berry Burst and Flirty Flamingo to work with. Okay, so I want something deep and something bright. On this one, probably should have said, actually, this is Starry Sky and Tahitian Tide, the two. So those are two of the older in colours. So again, got a deep colour, bright colour to kind of coordinate all that together. So I've done exactly the same thing, returning in colour with Berry Burst. Flirty Flamingo, whilst it's not a returning in colour this time, it was a returning in colour last time. So so like I say, deep and bright with this kind of, I don't know, I want to say neutralish colour. Okay, so that's the combo we're going to use. I'm going to start with the Berry Burst, and we're going to use this stamp in the set to create the background. So we're going to ink this up. It's what we call a distinctive stamp, so it's going to come out kind of, it's an uneven kind of look to it, to give it this lovely sort of texture. And you'll see I'm not going all the way to the edge, I'm not turning the stamp, I'm just kind of turning the paper and just popping some around the edge there, and I'm not thinking that carefully about it. Okay, so we're just going to go around there like that, and we'll pop a couple in the middle like so, and that's it. Don't think about it, just do it. Okay, I'm going to get that cleaned off really well. Just use my chamois there just to get off all that residual ink. We'll come back to this in a bit to do all the other elements. We'll just get the background done first. Then we're going to bring in our Flirty Flamingo. And then I'm going to use the stamp in the other orientation. There's kind of like a flat edge and a funky edge. So I'm going to sort of bring that edge in. And again, I'm just kind of going around the edge where there's sort of white spots. And then we're going to go a little bit across the middle in a bit of an X like that. And a lot of that's going to get covered up anyway, but you know, there's little bits that will kind of come out from the edge of the, you know, where the die cuts are and stuff. So whilst you think it might not show, you just never know. So we make the whole thing pretty, and then it doesn't matter which bits show. And then we're going to go crazy and bring in the wild wheat. So on the sample, the wild wheat's coming up here, and I actually used it full strength, and it's kind of, I think it's worked out okay on this colour with this combination, but I think it might be a little heavy for this one. So I'm going to use this end of the stamp because it's got sort of a more interesting kind of shape to it, but we're actually going to stamp it off first and bring that in and do a bit of second and third generation ink in here, and it adds that little bit of something without being too crazy. But if you feel like it needs something a bit darker, then we could go in a little bit darker. Kind of depends on the combination you've gone with. That might need something a little deeper for some of this. So go with how you feel with it, whether it needs more or less. Kind of a bit of a white space around there, so let's just pop something in there, and this corner's a bit, there's a little white space there. And again, I'm going to ink up a bit more, and we'll just pop a little bit in the middle. Again, just so that, you know, any bits that show, you'll get the feel for it. Okay, so it almost gives it like a green hue, I would say, with this colour combination. Okay, so there you go, wild wheat used with some cool colours to create something pretty. So we're done with that stamp there. So let's get that cleaned off and out of the way. Alright, so we're going to use the pink combo to make our sort of flower. So this stamp here has a coordinating die, and we'll just bring in some scrap, which happens to be the bit that I cut the two the detailed dies with. So we'll just get that stamped on here, but just to coordinate it with everything else, we'll still use the Flirty Flamingo, and we'll kind of stamp it backwards, if you know what I mean. So I'll get that inked up, and that went that way, so let's twizzle the stamp around and just put that in. So it's going to give us that pink coming through on there, but it means that we can still see that dark colour to position the die over the top, so we can still see that real clearly really clearly and get that die cut like so, with the two colours popping through. And the other thing we need is our wild wheat leaves as our accent. And again, I'm going to stamp them off because I think they're a little intense if we do them in full strength ink. And again, we've got a little die that we can use to cut those out. We'll have 3 of these. I've already done 2, so we'll pop that through the die cut machine just real quick. Oops. So there's our little leaves. And our flower. Okay, so you can, that little scrappy bit could be used for punching or something, so there we go. I've already die cut these little pieces. Just going to give those a little bend. Just to give them some shape, so they're ready to go. They're ready to go. And we have all our other elements as well. Rightio then. 2 of these die cuts and our card base. So let's put our funky base together. So like I say, this was cut to 4 by 5 3/4, which means it will fit beautifully onto this card base. Just remembered that before I want to do that, I just want to go over the edge with the wild wheat marker. I think it will look, it just hides that raw white edge, and it will really stand out, and it'll bleed through to the front a little bit as part of the design there. And then you've got to think about which way up you want it. Sometimes you feel like it should go a certain way, but sometimes it doesn't really matter, so I'm just going to go with it. So I'm just going to pop that down, looking to get those 3 edges on in my right hand. I've got it lifted in my left. Lining it up on this right hand side here, and then dropping that down. Give that a good burnish, sharp crease, because that's what makes it stand up. Okay, then we want to put on our 2 die cut elements. So these are kind of mainly really to give the card a little bit of texture and to break up that intense background. Okay, I mean, we could probably forego all the other bits and pieces, okay, but I just felt like it needed a stage. Okay, so again, you know, if you feel like you don't want to add this little piece, this element, then you don't have to. And the only place I'm putting glue is a blob there, because I know that it's going to get covered up. Okay, and we're going to position this so that it's as far up and to the left as it possibly can be without hanging off. Okay, and it doesn't matter about all that glue that's squidging through there at all, because we've got other stuff to plop on the top. And this one's going towards the bottom and the right, and they're going to overlap in the middle, and that's absolutely fine because we ain't going to see that. Okay, so that's all going to hold itself down, and we're going to pop this on with some dimensionals. Ooh, I've not got any. I've not got a big sheet open. Ooh, I don't. Right, little ones it is then. Unless I've got some little scraps here. Ooh, got a couple of little scraps there, those will do. Oops, let's get those off. Okay, so all that in the middle is all going to disappear underneath this, and it means that the rest of it will all be nice and secure. So if you wanted to leave that to dry for a little bit with some on the top, then you can, but obviously we want to be getting on with the rest of this design. So I'm just going to pop a couple of these dimensionals on the back of this. Okay, and what we haven't done is stamped our sentiments, so whilst that's just drying a little bit, I've just got a little strip of cardstock here, which I'm guessing is probably about 1/2 inch. It's literally just an offcut that was on my desk, so yeah, it's 1/2 inch. And we're going to use our darkest colour, which is Berry Burst, to stamp that. So just light tapping on the ink pad. Just checking that's all nice and covered, and then we'll just pop that on there. Super beautiful. Do you know, I've just had this little flashback in my head. Had a little bit of deja vu there, because I'm pretty sure this was an in colour when that stamp set came into the catalogue, because I seem to remember very distinctly stamping that in that colour before. Right, so just for speed, I figured we could use our little picker banners to do our little fishtail ends on this. So we'll just slot that in there, and we'll cut those. I haven't particularly measured how long this is, I've just gone with it. It's going to be shorter than the card. As long as it's shorter than the card, it doesn't really matter. You decide if you wanted to trim that down any further or whatever, but I'm just going to go with it. And we'll pop dimensional all 3 on there, and I want them to be in a position where I can pop those on there. Like so. So that's just going to go across there. Like so. So it's all really nice and sort of textural, because you've got bits that can sort of lift up, and I think that's really, really nice. Get this floral element in now, and that's just going to tuck in somewhere like that. And our leaves, I'm going to use the wet glue. I'm just going to put, again, we're not going to stick them down, we're just going to use a blob of glue on those sort of stems, and we're going to pop those in wherever you feel that are necessary. So the rule of 3s is always a good kind of rule of thumb when it comes to this kind of thing. So I'm just going to slot those in there, and then again, if you feel like it needs a bit of bling, I've got these last 3 rhinestones on this packet. Who doesn't like a bit of bling? Right, I'll just pop that one. I want to stick to the... Okay, and that is our card done. Okay, loads of texture on it, loads of fuss, loads of loveliness, and that's the original one. And if you wanted another colour combo idea, Look at this one. This one looks nice, doesn't it? So I might make this one up and post it with the blog post that goes with this video. I wonder if anyone can have a guess at what colours those are, because that I think worked out really beautifully, and it would give these just a completely different look. You've got this really nice vibrant blue and pink and stuff, but then you've got this lovely stormy combination, which is Blackberry Bliss and Fresh Freesia with the wild wheat, obviously. Well, that's cool, right? So I think the lesson here is play with some colour, get two sort of tonally kind of inks, and then, you know, weave in this wild wheat, and you've got something that can look really pretty. Okay, so there you go, guys. Hope you've enjoyed that. The links to the products are in the description, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Take care, stay safe. Bye.